So here's where I left off after part 1. I poured the footer, I filled it with sand, and I made a covering to go over top as a moisture barrier. But a couple people had some suggestions that I feel like would be really helpful. So I'm going to spend this episode mostly doing those and making a little bit of progress otherwise too. The first thing a bunch of people said is this thing is going to weigh a ton, and it already kind of does. In order to ensure my base is going to support this weight, I'm going to build it up a bit more. I'm effectively going to frame a full-size floor underneath of my bed. And by doing this, I'm hoping that it'll distribute the load a lot more and also give me something to grab onto such that two people can really move this thing effectively. So next I need to move the house that I've been working on onto what I just built. And that's kind of difficult because the house is heavy and also what I just built is heavy. Really this is a two-person job, but I couldn't find a second person. So after thinking about it for a while, I think I came up with a way of doing it that I can do on my own and that is relatively safe. I'll slowly jack up the house using small boards to bring it up to the height it needs to be at, and then slowly shimmy it back and forth to get it onto the base I just built. Okay, now the base is done. But in the process of moving the base on top of the reinforcements, I put a couple cracks into the footer, which I tried the best I could, but it was kind of inevitable. So I'm going to go back with a really thin version of the grout that I used to cast it and try to fill them the best I can. So I made this block in the last part, and a lot of people thought I was going to make all the blocks by hand, and no, that was never the plan. I really just needed a block I could use for context, so when I'm thinking about these sorts of things, I can see a scale block next to what I'm making and understand roughly if my thing is correctly scaled. The plan all along was to use the Mini Materials blocks. Mini Materials is a company that sells scale building materials in a number of different scales, but they have sets of concrete block you can buy. Or even better, you can actually buy a mold from them and cast your own concrete block. So that's what I ended up doing. I bought a mold from them. I'm still waiting for it to come though. So until then, this is really the best analog I have to build against. Unfortunately, there's not really all that much more I can do until I receive the concrete block molds. I do need to add some rebar pieces periodically along the footer, but if I want to do that, I need to know exactly where the holes in the blocks are positioned, because I need to have a rebar piece go through one hole in each block. And while my model is nice for visualizing, it doesn't have the exact correct hole position. So I could guess, but if I screw up, it's going to really suck to try to fix. I'm going to have to drill things out, and I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to wait to put the rebar into the footer until I get the blocks, which means there's not really all that much more I can do. So let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.